Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home. Hello, everyone. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Food and Our Emotions. We're going to be focused on the South Beach diet this week, the pros and cons. And of course, joining me is our longevity expert, Mr. red.olaughlin. He is the one who is the thumbs up or thumbs down on the diets, right, Red?
Absolutely true. We will be discussing the South Beach diet today, and we'll give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down, two thumbs up, two thumbs down. But basically, we're here to provide awareness and education with regard to what is that particular diet, and does it live up to its expectations? How hard is it? Yeah, just a variety of things. So, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm sure you've probably been on a diet or two, as I have during our lifetimes. And we go on diets for particular reasons, don't we?
We really do, Red. And you know what? When I think about a diet, when you just said that word, I just felt like this sadness coming up for me, thinking about going on a diet. Every day I torment myself about my food choices, and I have probably one meal a day that really could be better. And then the rest of the day, I'm okay. But
we have reasons why we go on a diet. And
yes.
Most of the time it's to lose weight.
Yes.
You know, and that's really it. Sometimes you get down where you're within the normal weight, but maybe you have a little extra couple pounds around the middle or around the neck or the arms or whatever. And that never seems to go away no matter what you do. But when we go on a diet, there's a particular reason. And most diets are for weight loss. And when you look at the South Beach diet, this was, let's see this guy's name, Dr. Agatston. Agatston. He was a cardiologist in Miami in the early 2000s, and his primary focus was for his patients for heart health. He was not happy with the existing diets that were out there. There was a lot of benefits for weight loss, and this particular diet also will benefit with weight loss. That seems to be when you talk about, show me the benefits of the South Beach diet, and it does give you good weight loss. And when I do the research into, well, tell me about the heart health benefits. And there's some issues there too, where, yeah, okay, fine, the triglycerides go down, your cholesterol goes down, and those kinds of things. But the focus of this diet was for heart health. It was an ancillary side effect that you lost weight. And that's, kind of good in a way. But who really needs a heart healthy diet? I think any kind of diet we go on, we want our health to be pretty good anyway, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely, of course. Yeah. So just the words South Beach. Have you been to South Beach in Florida?
I have actually. When I was working out in New York City with the military, I had a chance to fly down periodically to Miami in the winter, and it was just a glorious thing. In fact, I remember one day I came back, it was snowing. I was in New York City, and they had a $99 special. I think it was Continental flying to Puerto Rico. And so I talked to my boss. I said, I need 3 days off. I left that Friday, came back Monday, and I flew down to San Juan for the weekend. But I'd be down in either not Orlando so much, Clearwater or Miami periodically, sometimes summertime, sometimes winter, depending on what the military things were going on down there. I had some units down there that reported to me at that time. And so it was a matter of keeping track of things, and sometimes we had exercises. But it's a neat place. I like it. We were there a few years ago when we drove down to Key West. Didn't My wife wanted to spend more time in Miami than we did, but yeah, I think it's a neat place. I really do.
So if you had to use some adjectives to describe it for people who haven't been to South Beach in Florida outside Miami, what would you say?
Well, if you take the Miami part out with all of the civilization, I think the rest of that area where you have, the Everglades and you have the Keys, it's tropical, near tropical. You will see some coconut trees down there, which don't survive 32 degrees very well at all, but it's flat, relatively so, green, a lot of good sea breezes coming in. I think it's comfortable, even summertime with the temperatures up a little bit. You're going to find temperatures kind of like Houston, mid to upper 90s, because it's right near the coast. You're going to have a fair amount of humidity. I think the people are great. I think the food is great. A lot of different cultures down there with regard to the kinds of food you get from South America, from the Caribbean, from Southern U.S. cooking. So lots of things down there, obviously with a lot of entertainment, a lot of retirement, a lot of tourist things down there. It's an amazing area. If you haven't been there, it's certainly worth a few days. Maybe you might want to drive, spend a couple days in this part of Florida, a couple days here, a couple days in one of the Keys, whatever it may happen to be. My mom was born in Key West, so we've had a chance to get down there more than a couple times, and that's kind of a neat area in and of itself too.
Fantastic. I've been there as well several times, and I just think it's kind of like a crazy place. There's a lot of fun opportunities, and I think, a sense of upbeat, carefree. And so I was just wondering how our perceptions of South Beach and maybe that branding South Beach diet, if they go together or not.
Well, I remember walking around down there, and I was with a couple of people who were local, and we'd walk by, oh, this is so and so celebrity house, or this is so, and you look in, it's got a big gate here, and you can see barely the house there in the back. So there's a lot of security, a lot of protection, but just a lot of what I enjoy being a tropical, subtropical environment. And that part I like. I like to hear that rustle of the palm leaves up there in the trees. There's just so many things. You go out there toward the beach, lots and lots and lots of just things that make me calm and enjoy life. But let's get to the South Beach diet.
Yes, let's do it.
What do you know about the South Beach diet? Anything at all?
No, nothing at all. That's why I'm excited to have you share.
Okay, but you've heard of the South Beach because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that came in vogue about 20 years ago. And again, the whole purpose was for the heart health aspect of it. And when you look at it, it's like a ketogenic diet. It's like an Atkins diet that we talked about. But the focus is a little different, and there's certain things that you have to do. In this particular diet, you have 3 phases. Usually the first phase lasts a couple of weeks, and that's to get your body off of carbohydrates. Literally just almost no. Now they tell you when you dig into it, 50 grams a day. Atkins is 20. I found 10 a day very easy for me. I think a lot of people will find 20 very difficult. 50 I think is realistic. I think the Sugar Busters diet is a 50-gram carbohydrates a day. But they call this the strictest phase because they want the body into ketosis. They want you burning fat, which basically means that you're losing weight, you're losing inches. And so they cut off all carbs as best they can, and that includes the fruit and grain. And I'm hearing my renovators in the background that I've asked them specifically not to be active at this time, but it is what it is, so we'll worry about it later. Anyway, the whole purpose is to get your insulin levels down, get your blood sugar levels down, minimize the amount of carbs coming in. And then over the next 2 phases, they start reintroducing a little of this, a little of that, a little of that. I think it's a fairly easy diet to start with. It concentrates a lot on whole foods, on unsaturated animal fats. I mean, it's kind of a misnomer there. In fact, let's just talk about that for a second because I think that's important. We hear this saturated animal fat's bad for you. Well, again, is that true or is it a myth? I mean, I've looked at many studies that says, here's 10,000 people in this study, here's 50,000 people in this study. Yeah, maybe there's a 7% chance, but in the big scheme of things, is your unsaturated fat coming from dairy? Is it coming from red meat? Is it coming from whatever? And my opinion, and it's again just my opinion based on my research, uh, there may be a slight risk for some people who have health conditions that cutting back or continuing on a high saturated fat diet from animal fat might become a health issue. But again, this is something you and your doctor need to talk about. But I think for most of us, and based on the studies that I've looked at, if you say, is it a myth? Yes or no? Most will say, yeah, it's a myth. There's really no difference in dying from a heart attack whether you have a fairly high saturated animal fat diet versus not having one. Now, there are some issues in there where you might have some cardiovascular issues, but I think that's because a lot of us have individual issues. We might have diabetes, we might have high blood pressure, we might have some other issues. I just was in the hospital a couple weeks ago with diverticulitis, something I've never had in my life. First time ever, have no idea what caused it. Went on a regimen of antibiotics, wiped it out. When I was growing up, primarily early flight years, I'd get my blood test back, and one of the things I would get was my cholesterol. Well, for whatever reason, my cholesterol ran consistently for decades between 104 and 114 total. Total. That's not low. That's not LDL, that's total. Well, I'm in the hospital this time. I'm taking a look at my blood test, and 114 total cholesterol, 39 for HDL. And that's my norm. My body is that way. Cholesterol, our body makes it. Every cell in our body needs it. So when we talk about lowering our cholesterol, you could take it from your diet, but your body's going to make up what it needs. If you take your cholesterol and eat a lot more of it, your body's going to make less because there's a certain amount of cholesterol our body has to have in every single cell. You take a statin drug, and the statin drug is going to stop the body's production of CoQ10, which is part of that cholesterol, part of our diet. And so there's a lot of issues there with that. But the whole thing is that if I'm going to reduce foods, my body may in fact just compensate for what I'm missing. So when I want to cut back on fats, the option may not always be the result I'm getting is going to be different. And so he's a cardiologist. He put people on this diet. He saw their triglycerides fall, but I think the triglycerides fell because they were taken off of alcohol. That was one of the restrictions on the first couple of weeks was no alcohol, no carbs, no fruits. Basically, when you cut the sugar way back, you cut alcohol way back, your triglycerides come down. You're removing cholesterol from the primary part of your body and concentrating it with the fish and meat and healthy fat. So you're kind of modifying everything. So, okay, this is what things should be for you. But again, our mindset says diet, temporary. As soon as it's over, I'm going to go back. Or I really need something right now. That extra ding dong today would just make me feel so good. And so I find it easy to get off a very strict diet. Don't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, when you said those words, I was thinking to myself, yeah, how long would I have to stay on a diet? Like maybe I could do it for a week or something. And that's why we talk about healthy lifestyles as opposed to going on a diet here, there. So in your research, did anyone give a testimonial about their experience being on the diet?
There wasn't individuals that I looked for. I was looking for gross results with regard to these 1,000 people or whatever the study happened to be. And for the most part, when you looked at the results of the diet, the main part was people lost weight. I think any kind of low carb diet, people will lose weight. Dr. Eggertson's focus was on his patients' heart health, where their cholesterol readings going down, where their triglycerides going down, their hypertension, any other cardiovascular issues. And I'm sure part of that, the diabetes and any other might be contributing issues with cardiovascular health. So from that perspective, he was pretty happy with the results that he was getting. And so his you would have to say from a heart healthy perspective, yeah, probably 2 thumbs up. Is it an easy diet to be on? Well, for people who can easily do a keto or an Atkins or a low carb diet, yeah, probably fairly easy. But is that for most of us? I'm thinking that maybe a shaky 1 thumb up, because it's difficult to take and have, we talk about keto fog, that time where your body shifts from glucose being the primary support because of our carbs and shifting over into burning fat, our ketones. Now, when I look at that, I want to say the body adjusts because it can, and that's what it does. Is it something that our habits, our expectations, we hear, okay, somebody said they had this, well, maybe I'm going to have the same thing. So I'm really looking at that aspect of, do I have that? Maybe I do, maybe I don't like that. And so I don't know whether we're preconditioned for it or not, but there are some issues there that I think are legitimate. I think you do end up with a healthy weight loss. There's no doubt about that. I think you do end up with improved heart health. I think those are definitely good aspects of this diet. So that might be something, if you have a cardiovascular disease and you're 30, 40 pounds overweight, maybe that might be a good thing to talk to your doctor about, because it does have success written in its after effects. The results do show that very, very well. And so from the aspect of stabilizing your blood sugar, keeping your insulin levels down, getting your insulin sensitivity back up, the focus is on healthy foods, whole foods. And we know when you start looking at the causes of obesity, that's your ultra high processed foods. That's things in packages and cans and jars, that extra salt and calories and toxins and preservatives. All those things are not on the healthy side of the house. So when I want a diet that's going to give me healthy options, yeah, it might be difficult, but I'm really looking for a healthy lifestyle. Can I live on this one? Well, if you phase in down the road extra little amounts of the things they take away from you, and let's say that I want to maintain a healthy weight of 180 pounds, just pick a number, and I lose 20 pounds, I get down to my 180, I'm there, the doctor says, okay, your cholesterol stabilized, your triglycerides are good, let's add in a little bit more carbohydrates, a little bit more fruit, a little bit more whatever, and you're on that for a couple of weeks, you come back, you get another blood test, you haven't gained any weight, okay, things are looking good, maybe now you go, let's kind of relax a little bit more, and now you gain 2 pounds, is that a big deal? Another 2 months go by, you gain another couple pounds, you're now 184, 185. Is that expected? Well, you've added stuff back in incrementally, probably, but what have you done in your lifestyle to help remove that? Now, the South Beach diet does not specify exercise. It kind of recommends it, but it doesn't say go out and do 20 minutes of high intensity exercise 3 days a week, or go out and walk 2 miles 4 days a week, whatever. I know you're a big exercise buff. It's rarely a day you don't spend at least an hour in some aspect of exercise. With regard to your lifestyle, Dr. Jacalyn, if somebody says stop exercising, that would be a major impact on your life, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to hang around me very often. That's for
but
sure.
but somebody who doesn't exercise and they say go out and do this 20 minutes a day, to us that doesn't sound like much, but for somebody who doesn't get off the couch, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
Red, I do have a question for you, because you mentioned this at the beginning of the show, and I know we've talked about it before, but just because you go on a diet and you lose weight doesn't mean you're going to lose it where you specifically want to lose it. So whether it's around the waistline, or women, we have weight behind our arms, the back of our arms. So what can we do when we're selecting a diet that will enable us to actually, you can't spot reduce, right? You could do 1,000 leg raises, which I've done in the past, doesn't make any difference, hard stomach, but you still have fat there. So what are some things that we can do so that not only we lose weight, but we're happy with how we look?
well, we're getting into an aspect of food and our emotions, and particularly in the South Beach diet, because now we're talking about our psychological profile of what we expect, what we think is healthy. You're carrying an extra inch around your gut, but you're at a healthy weight, and all of your lab tests come back in the normal levels. Are you unhealthy? No. Do you think you're unhealthy? Do you not appreciate your physique? Probably yes. Maybe you need to change your expectation and your focus is on, okay, I get a blood test every 6 months. Is everything in the normal? Am I low on calcium? Am I low on magnesium? Am I high on triglyceride? Whatever it may happen to be. Maybe the results should be what you see in writing and not necessarily how snug the jeans fit or what is hanging around. Now, we can tone certain parts of our body. Now, when I lose weight, I lose in my neck faster than I lose anywhere else. It's crazy, because in the military, when they take a fat boy test, they'll test your waist and your neck, and they'll do a comparison of the two. Well, if I lose a half inch or an inch in my neck, boom, it doesn't matter what happens to my waist. I could lose 3 or 4 inches there. And that neck measurement is a much bigger factor. But that's where I lose weight first, is my neck. Now, I started that Talking Heads program on weight management about 7 to 8 weeks ago, and I was reporting weekly on where I stood, and I'm down about 10 pounds in the last 2 months, which I think is realistic because I live on a fairly low carb diet anyway. So what I'm burning actually is not water weight loss that you're going to see. Typically, this diet, the first 10, 12 pounds in 2 weeks, it's going to be water weight. It's not going to be fat. It's not going to be anything else but literally water weight. I was on Atkins for 6 years, living in Germany the last 2 years. I'd go down to Italy for a weekend. I'd pig out on pasta and red wine and bread. I gained 12 pounds, come back 2 weeks later, a pound a day was gone, and I'm back to where I was. It was all water weight gain, water weight loss. You want something effective. You want that fat to be burning so that instead of having a 38-inch waist, you have a 36-inch waist. And so from a fat perspective, maybe you should be measuring where are you losing fat at, because you may actually gain a couple pounds and lose a couple inches. So if you're exercising and dieting, then maybe what you're doing is you're building up more muscle, which means your basal metabolic rate is burning more fat because you have an intermittent fasting program that allows that fat to be burned and also allows autophagy to happen, where it cleans up your body a little bit better than before. So a lot of things are going on and we're not aware of it. All we are aware of is, how do I look in the mirror? Oh, I don't like that. Those kinds of things are that psychological and not necessarily a physiological result of what we're doing. But you can have everything going for you. Whoops, get that back out of the way. And our stress levels, I'm sure with your TV shows, what 400 a week or something like that. There's no stress in making sure the next guest is there and everything's going along and the power is fine and there's no electrical interruptions and you don't have people showing up on your doorstep. There's so many things that go on in our lives outside of our business that is hard to control. But stress is a major factor, and that will add extra pounds around our gut faster than anything else going. And so if we're watching our diet, we're exercising, but we're not managing our stress, we haven't changed our overall physique because that stress is in control. So that cortisol needs to be challenged and by stress reduction, breathing, lots of other aspects. But from a South Beach perspective, I think the diet is pretty sound. I think it works. I think there's a lot of things there that do well. I like the fact that it focuses on whole foods. I like the fact that it focuses on what I call high quality proteins. Just like our food choices, we can end up with fish, chicken, beef that have extra antibiotics, extra hormones in it. So if you're trying to buy organic, this kind of diet, yes, will be more expensive than another kind, because if I just go down and buy chicken thighs, I can get those fairly inexpensively. But if I want to buy organic chicken thighs, maybe the price is 30% more. Maybe that 30% is worth more. But if I'm looking at my caloric intake, maybe I can take that same amount of organic chicken and have the same number of meals and not miss a thing from it. There's so many different options in regard to that. What are some of the negatives? Well, people think that the first phase is too restrictive, because just like Atkins or keto or anything else, when you start getting into a no carb diet, you're going to end up with potentially some side effects, because you might end up, because you're lowering your blood sugar, you might end up with more fatigue, dizziness, nausea, certainly irritability. There's probably changing your fat profile. You're eating more fats than you did before. And again, depending on if you're in a fairly high exercise environment normally, yeah, this may not be a big issue. No, I want to rephrase that. If you're in a high exercise mode, that's what you do all the time, and you take your carbs away, you're going to have a major problem because you don't have the endurance, the stamina. Before I went on Atkins, I was easily, I could run 6, 8 miles, hour and a half, no problem at all, 2 or 3 times a week or more. I went on Atkins and I could barely get 2 miles. I didn't have any energy reserves in my body, and I would just run out of gas. So I know that there was that part of it. I was on ketones all the time, but I was burning fat. Loved it. I lost like 7 inches around my waist in 4 months. Amazing. But what I was not expecting was the fact that I couldn't keep up my exercise regimen. So if you're on a fairly high exercise regimen and you're using this as part of your diet plan, your expectations need to change because you will not be able to have the endurance you had before. Because it's a restrictive diet, you might see a little bit of yo-yoing back and forth because the sugars and everything are fairly addictive. You get 2 weeks into this, 3 weeks into this, and you're in a restaurant. Yeah, I need a little bit of those mashed potatoes. Oh, I need a little bit of that cherry pie, whatever it may happen to be. So there's some issues there that really and truly can become a problem and can lead to getting off of the diet very, very easily. I think for people who are trying to maintain the diet, there might be an expense issue there, trying to say maybe my food expenses are going to go up a little bit. But what is the cost of long-term poor health? We don't want to increase our food budget by $50 a week. But if we're cutting down our future health costs, maybe that's one of those things we need to adapt. So based on what I've said, what do you think the diet main issues are?
Well, one thing I just wanted to interject to your earlier comment when I'd asked you about spot reducing in certain places, that wouldn't it be nice for those people out there who are looking to meet someone, they're looking to get into a relationship, that they show up for that first date or second date or third date and they have their blood tests, they have their doctor's report that they're healthy and in good shape, and say, hey, maybe I have an extra 5 pounds, but look at this, I'm healthy. You're going to be with somebody who really is going to be here for a while. Wouldn't that be nice, instead of, yeah, you're too heavy, or I want someone who's leaner?
Let me tell you a little story. I fell in love in Germany with the saunas, and in a sauna over there, they call it a mineraltherme or a spa. All you wear is a smile. That's all you wear. There's nothing else. And a lot of the military guys I was over with there, they'd be dating a German girl, and before they knew it, they were in a spa with their birthday suit in front of the whole world with another, 200 people there in the facility. And that was a major shock for some people because that's not our norm in the States. So if you're trying to hide something, you're not hiding anything when you're over there in that environment. Now, it's also interesting that some of the places like Baden-Baden, up till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's all men in one area, all women in the other, and then after that, it's mixed. But again, it's a cultural lifestyle. We have an aspect of nudity here in the United States. It's totally different than what the Germans have. But they also have their health system set up that they will send people to spas, and that's part of their retirement. That's part of their health. That's part of everything. And when you start sweating and you're getting toxins out of your body and you're doing other things, and you see somebody who's 20 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight, it's there, it's obvious, but nobody says anything about it. It's like when I had my wife come in there and join me, I was telling her, I was telling other people, I said, you're after 10 minutes in a sauna like that, the only person staring is you. Nobody cares what anybody looks like. Yeah, you see a really beautiful person. You enjoy the beauty, the exquisiteness of it. But after about 20, 30 minutes, you're finding yourself, you're not staring at people. And I think that's kind of our diet deal. We go on this diet and we expect something, and all of a sudden we're not. But when I look at this particular diet, whether I give my thumbs up or not, this one here relies on a glycemic index. They want to have you low glycemic foods, in other words, lower your blood sugar. And if you take a low glycemic food and it says, okay, this food's normally 20, well, if it's really ripe, maybe it's 40. if you cook it a certain way, maybe it's 45. So it's not always just picking and choosing. It's not a specific one. They leave too much of the options to the person. Yeah, they recommend exercise, but they don't give you an exercise regimen. I think that's a thumbs down. So the food choices, when it's left up to somebody, we're going to maximize what we like and not necessarily pick the things we want. Yes, it's a little bit expensive. Yes, you're probably going to have some level of addiction overcoming because of so much sugar we used to eat. Uh, some people may have a problem with alcohol the first couple of weeks because that's a major issue. Uh, some things we don't even think about. Salad dressings. My wife can't eat a salad without salad dressing. I don't use salad dressings. So there's a lot of hidden sugars and other things in salad dressings. This diet tries to concentrate on whole food, which has a lot of fiber in it. I think that's really, really good. But it really doesn't look at the stress aspect of things. I think there's something there. I don't think there's a whole lot of focus on hydration, which I think is a major, major issue. So when I look at what could I do to improve it, well, certainly talk to my doctor about, I want to do this because I have high triglycerides, high cholesterol. I don't want to go on stat meds. Okay. If I cut back on my carbs, I increase my exercise, I do stress relief every day, I do certain things, I might be able to control my triglycerides, get them back down to the normal. I might be able to control my cholesterol just with some lifestyle changes and some healthy food additions to what I'm doing. But as we are providing this program, I think the South Beach diet, if I had to give it 2 thumbs up, I'd give it 2 thumbs up. But again, part of the awareness that we're doing in this program is there are some issues with the South Beach diet. Just like there's issues probably with literally almost every diet that's out there. And it's not for everyone. It's something that if any diet you go on, I don't care what it is, if you have any issues at all, if you're on any prescription meds at all, if you're overweight at all, talk to your doctor before you do something. It may be that they want to do a blood profile before you start, so that if there's something there that you're trying to correct, you're actually going in the right direction. And that may be a major portion of that aspect of your change in what you're doing. But a diet in and of itself is not the answer. You need to get to something you're going to stick with for the next 20, 30, 40 years, because that's what you want, is something you don't even think about. Well, how many grams does this have? How many calories does this have? Is there too much salt in this? If I had to recommend anything to anyone, Whole Foods, whatever you can find that's raw in that part of the store, fantastic. Look for labels, read them, whatever it says. Don't read the labels on the front. Yeah, it might say no extra fat, no salt, no added, no gluten, no antibiotics. Read the labels on the back. It's nice to know there's no antibiotics in there, no hormones, whatever. But organic doesn't always mean organic. There's certain things there, but from a healthy lifestyle option, I think the South Beach diet, it definitely deserves a couple thumbs up. I'm going to say it's not for everyone. But then again, not everyone has a cardiovascular issue that needs to be fixed. But I think from a healthy perspective, it's a good option. I think it's as good as keto, as good as Atkins, certainly better than the standard American diet. I think it's certainly as good as the Mediterranean diet. If I take an Atkins diet and I concentrate more on fruits and vegetables, berries primarily, I take the Mediterranean diet and I do a certain thing. I take a keto diet. Each one's going to have their pluses and minuses. But what is my immediate goal? And if I'm wanting to lose weight, I may have a psychological issue with my subconscious mind, because it doesn't want you to fail. But if I shift to, I want to lose inches around my gut, maybe that's a better goal to have, because your subconscious mind is going to support that particular goal you haven't failed at before. So there's just so many interactions with regard to that. But I think any part of a healthy lifestyle is, yeah, you do have some level of lower amounts of calories, some level of a good mixed, balanced nutrition. Your exercise regimen has to be included in that. Just so many different aspects of health in general, and that's what we're here for. Food and Our Emotions is a program that we want to look at the entire aspect of what is this doing to us as an individual, and does it end up affecting us emotionally, physiologically, and if we know that, can we make an adjustment? And that's kind of where we're at.
Excellent overview as always. Thank you. So the takeaway is 2 thumbs up, and you do have some suggestions, which you talked about hydration, also exercise, talking to your doctor. I think that's always a good idea. I love when I go into a gym and I see right there before you take the, do any exercise, make sure you consult with your physician. So that's always a good takeaway for anybody who is listening or watching. Thank you. Red, you've written a number of books and you're doing a number of things here on our platform. Tell our audience a little bit more about that.
I'm a researcher. I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I'll look for cause and effect relationships, treat a cause, fix a problem, treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms. So if I'm looking at something and I want to know what's going on in my body, if I know that to get this, say, calcium from this food into my bones, what happens? Well, if I understand the process, it makes it a whole lot easier for me to accept certain foods to eat, because that's what's going on in my life. I want that end result. So that's what I write about. That's what I speak about on the Talking Heads program. That's going to be later on today, 2:00 Central, 3:00 Eastern. We'll be talking about a subject near and dear to many people. It's pain management. And today I'm getting into some real in-level, what happens the minute that injury happens. We know that there's a certain neurological response that happens, but there's certain, chemical responses that happen. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What happens when this starts to activate and that activates these other ones? What options do you have? And so today we're dealing a little bit more with the chemistry of that injury before it starts sending signals everywhere on the body. Do we have choices? Do we have options? And that's what we're talking about today. I have books I've written on the subconscious mind, on longevity, on health in general. I just finished one on Alzheimer's. There's a lot of things out there that can be found. Google my name on Amazon. A lot of theirs. red.olaughlin.com is my website. That's RedOlaughlin. red.olaughlin.com is my website. red.olaughlin@gmail.com is a good way to reach me, one of my preferred ways. My phone number is 281-687-1188. So call me on the phone. In fact, our guest coming up on The Wise Ones found me on LinkedIn, called me on the phone. We had a good conversation. We had a couple more after that. When I got to know him a little bit, I says, hey, you'd be a great guest on our show today. So today we have Ruben Red, another guy named Red. Lowry, I think is his last name. And he's going to be our guest today. And he's got a remarkable background from being a sparring partner with Olympic athletes, world-class boxers, to being a Navy SEAL, to doing this and that, and lots of value to share. So from the USA Global TV and Radio Network, I'm involved with the Food and Emotions, with Talking Heads, with the Wise Ones. And then once a month, I contribute with the Corner Bookstore. And very shortly, I keep saying this, but very shortly, I hope to have a program to help entrepreneurs. And that's coming to fruition pretty quickly. I keep promising Dr. Jacalyn, and I'm not delivering yet, but it's going to happen. I promise you, Dr. Jacalyn, I really do.
Thank you so much, Red. I appreciate that. And Red, we have to update your phone number. And are you on WhatsApp for people outside the United States who want to get in touch with you?
I am not. I have very limited things that I do, and I try to keep those doing very well. But red@olaughlin@gmail.com can be reached from overseas. And Zoom is always available. Send me an email link and say, let's do a Zoom. I'm more than happy to do that in lieu of a phone call. There's lots of options that can be done with regard to that. But no, alas, I fear not. I'm not on WhatsApp. And that seems to be a bane of a lot of people in certain aspects. No, not.
Okay.
I'm sure I can be trained, but no, I have some resistance, but anyway.
Well, people can reach you by the other methods. So thank you so much, Red. Another great episode. And we'll look forward to seeing you later today on The Wise Ones.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. So take care.
Bye for now. Bye-bye. And thank you so much, everyone. Before we sign off, I just have a couple of announcements. The first one is that I've been asked to be a VIP speaker at the World Summit on Women and Girls. This is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States of America. And it is an initiative of Dr. Jacalyn Metalli's foundation, Hands Across Philadelphia. So please do reach out if you're interested in attending. The dates are October 20th through the 22nd. And the other thing is we released a new book. This is super exciting. It's called Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, Solutions for Deeper Connections, Better Relationships, and More Authentic Conversations. And lo and behold, we just released it this week. I don't even know if it was Monday or what the day was. And now it's among the Amazon best sellers, sitting at number 6 the last time that we checked. So as you know, we practice elevated listening here. And what that means is listening without judgment, listening without providing a solution, listening without stealing the stage, and listening without interruption. If you'd like to learn more, this book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, has 2 quizzes. It also has testimonials and case studies. So I know many of you out there tell me all the time, or you fill in a survey, you tell me what great listener you are. Let's prove it. Take the quiz and let's see. If we have more people listening at an elevated level, I truly believe we'll have more inner peace and more peace on earth. Thanks again for being here. We're going to close out with a sponsorship, and we really do appreciate all of our sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor as well, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out to us at contact us at USA Global TV and Radio. Bye for now. This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium, I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school. This class is the best. This is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.